evening, Worcester, huh? All right. You know, how about our fantastic Lieutenant Governor, my favorite teammate, our friend, Kim Driscoll. Isn't she great? She's so great. I love her. I love her. You know, I remember being here 4 years ago. I remember being here a long time before that, actually. Do you remember? Some of you were with me. I see a lot of friends in the room tonight. A lot of friends in the room tonight. You know, I came to this room, and I'm thinking about it right now. I was an unknown candidate. Remember that? I was an unknown candidate, never run for office, never raised a dollar, and you gave me your support. And yeah, with your support as the people's lawyer, we sued those Sacklers. We took on corporations for wage theft. We went after big oil for lying about climate change. Remember that? And then 4 years ago, I asked for your support right here, again, this very convention, to take a new job, the next job, as your governor. And I am so proud to be your governor. I feel proud and privileged and humbled every single day. I do. And the thing that makes me so proud about being your governor is that I'm the Massachusetts governor. I'm the Massachusetts governor. And you know what makes Massachusetts so special? It's the people. Who said that? Who said that? It's the people. It's the people. It's the people. You know, that's what makes this state so special. And as Kim said, let's bring Kim back out here for a minute. Did she leave for a second? Hold on 1 second. I gotta do something. Okay. Okay, no problem. I can remember some things. I can't remember everything, you know? I'm hitting that age, right? So listen, what I was saying to you, I am so proud to be a Massachusetts governor. I'm so proud to be governor of this state because of our people, because of who we are. Like our good friend Ken Casey said, we started this nation 250 years ago. Did you see him on that? Yes. We started this nation 250 years ago, a time when ordinary people came together. Not politicians, by the way, ordinary people. Don't you ever forget that. Farmers, tradespeople, people who knew that there was a cause greater than themselves. People who came together to fight for freedom and for fairness. And in doing so, a new nation was born. This is Massachusetts. This is our DNA. This is what we fight for. This is what we believe in. And look, friends, I know we don't always agree on everything, but you know what Massachusetts' greatest innovation is? American democracy, okay? Yes. Yes. And I know that every great patriot in this room believes in that. We look out for each other. I mean that. We look out for each other, and we will never back down. And that is more important now than ever, isn't it? More important now than ever. You know, I want to say a couple things tonight, and this wasn't even exactly planned, but I want to level with you because these are serious times. The reality for so many is that these are tough times. These are challenging times. They're economically challenging. They're psychologically challenging. So many disruptions, chaos, uncertainty. I just left my niece's graduation from high school, you know, and what I think about when I see her and I think about every day, you know, Joanna and I, when we raise our kids, what is the future we are building for them in Massachusetts and across this country? And you know, it starts with recognizing the reality that we're in right now. You can call it inflation, tariffs, you can attribute it to cuts, but for any number of reasons right now, people cannot afford life. Everything's gotten more expensive. Our groceries, gas, clothes, you know, God forbid you want to go out to dinner once in a while. People are hurting, people are feeling it, and I see that every single day. The other thing I see is that, you know, I think about when I was growing up. We didn't have a lot. My mom worked multiple jobs. All of us kids had our own jobs at an early age. Thank God, by the way, my mom had the protection of a union job. But, you know, and we weren't different from many families. We also knew, though, that and believed that if you worked hard, if you put in the effort, if you looked after one another, you were going to be able to get ahead. You were going to be able to get ahead. And, you know, a lot of us did. Some of us didn't. But didn't we have a belief that that was possible? And sadly, the reality today for too many people is that they don't feel that way. The reality is that life is just too damn hard, too expensive. And I want you to know that I see that. I see the struggles and the challenges every day in the faces of the people I meet, of the families I spend time with, of the places that I visit. This is probably no different than the experience of any politician who's paying attention anywhere in this country. But Kim and I are paying attention here. The other thing I want to level with you about is that a lot of people have given up on government. I want to thank you all as delegates for being here tonight. I want to thank you for being part of our democracy. Because what an authoritarian like Donald Trump wants to do is depress us, is deaden us, is weaken us, is leave us without hope, is leave us without any feeling of power or agency, like our voice and our action or a vote makes any difference. You are proof that your voice and your action makes a difference. And that's the kind of voice and action we're going to need this November here in Massachusetts and all across this country. Because so much is broken in politics, right? People see a system that's for the rich and powerful. They see a federal government that's making everything worse. So to those people, to you, to families everywhere, I want you to know that I see you. I see you, and I know it's not right. And that's why, for the last 3.5 years, Kim and I have been working hard to focus on you, to focus on your life, to focus on your family, to focus on ways to make it easier, to make it better, to make it less hard. And as your governor, I'm always going to have your back. I promise you that. As your governor, I will always have your back. Now, having your back means lowering the cost of living. Let's start with housing, and Kim mentioned some of this. We have to be a state where our teachers and our nurses and our police and our firefighters can afford to live. We have to be a place where our young people can afford to stay and grow families and grow opportunities. And folks, the problem is we hadn't been building housing like we should since the 1990s. That's a fact. And so when we got in, we got after it. We got after it, and we have done a number of things, turning surplus state land and empty office buildings and abandoned mills into housing, changing zoning to make ADUs a right. So now it's easier to turn your garage or your backyard into a place for your parents or your kids as a young couple. We cut permitting times, get this, from over a year down to just 30 days. We're building homes around transit hubs. And because of the actions that we've taken, yeah, we've brought online 100,000 homes in just the last 3 years. More is on the way. I also know people needed relief right now. And that's why we got rid of all those brokers' fees for renters. They don't have to pay those anymore because of what we did. We also know that, and especially for our young people, getting into your first home is so impossible, so challenging. We know that. And that's why we put together a program, $25,000 towards a down payment on your first home. We're also fighting to get your gas and electric bills down. We are, every single day, because, you know, here's something that really burns me, that is absolutely unacceptable. At a time when people are seeing their gas bills and electric bills skyrocket, you know what else is skyrocketing? Profits at our utility companies. We cannot be a place where these corporations make record profits while families are struggling to pay their bills, choosing between food and heat. That's wrong in Massachusetts, that's wrong in America, and it's why I've opposed and will continue to oppose utility rate hikes every single time. Now, but to truly lower bills, we need to bring more energy online, and you know how hard we've been working to do this. Under our administration, we flipped the switch on clean hydro coming down from Quebec. We built out solar, we built out wind. And every time that Donald Trump tries to block affordable, clean energy, we've stood up. We've stood up, we've defended solar and wind projects, and we're building more of them now that are powering people's homes and businesses around the state. We can lower costs and achieve our climate goals with renewable energy. That's a fact. And you know what else is a fact? We're going to keep building them with American union jobs. Healthcare, it's broken in America, right? How many of you experience increases in your premiums? Yeah, so many people around this country can't afford health care. So I can't wait for Washington. I don't know about you. I can't wait for Washington to fix it. So yeah, we cut deductibles, we cut co-pays. We also got rid of prior authorizations, you know, which is important, really important, because you shouldn't have to wait to get clearance from an insurance company in order to see a doctor. So now if you're a diabetic, no wait for your insulin. If you're a cancer payment and God bless you're in remission, no wait to go back and get those scans. No more waits for the medical care and health care that you need. We changed that. We changed that. If your doctor says you need it, you're going to get it. The other thing is this. We're working on expanding primary care and mental health providers every single day. We've got more to do, but trust me, in a second term, we are going to continue to build the number of primary care providers out there and mental health providers out there, because that's what people in Massachusetts need. Health care when they need it. Housing, energy, health care. These are costs, these are burdens that hold people back. And that's why we're so focused on lowering them. We're also building on the foundations that our people and our economy depend on. Now that starts with our schools. I want every parent to know that when they send their child to a Massachusetts public school, they're going to the best schools in America. They're going to the best schools in America with the best teachers and educators in America. I say that as the proud daughter of two of them. You know, while the federal government cut funding for education, we invested in childcare and doubled dollars for K-12 schools in Massachusetts under our administration. And for the second year in a row, our schools are now ranked #1 in our nation's report card across every single category. You want to start and grow a business here? We're making smart investments in cutting regulations and red tape to support our small businesses, to support our entrepreneurs, to attract employers and create jobs. We have more work to do, but we're seeing the results. In the last 7 months alone, Massachusetts has created 21,000 new jobs, well ahead, by the way, of the national pace. And over the last year, we've had the #1 GDP growth in the entire country. That's the truth. You may be familiar with this, but we inherited sort of a disaster at the T in public transit when we started. Do you remember Trains on Fire? That poor woman jumping out of the orange line there? We worked hard. We're turning it around, you know, and now reliability is up, service is up. For the first time, slow zones are gone across the T. But it's more than just the T. We've made regional transit free on those buses. We've invested in improvements for West-East Rail. We've opened up a couple commuter lines. Where's our South Coast friends? How's about that? For the first time in 70 years, you can ride the train to New Bedford. You can ride the train to Fall River. And just last week, we announced new ferry service, right? That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing, prioritizing public transit. We're also prioritizing public safety. And now, I want you to know public safety in Massachusetts is something we should be proud of. Do you know Massachusetts is one of the safest states in the country? It is. And I know why that is. Last week, I attended the funeral service of Massachusetts State Trooper Kevin Traynor. This week, on Monday, I'll be attending the service of Boston firefighter Bobby Kilduff. Both were killed in the line of duty. And it's a reminder of the courage and the sacrifices that our first responders and their families make. And every day, we must honor them by supporting them and standing with them. Every day. We also stand with our veterans. Kim and I both come from military families. We're proud of that. And we're going to make sure that our heroes get the care that they deserve. The other day I was out in Holyoke, and I was at the Holyoke Veterans Home. Now, I took office after the terrible COVID tragedy that claimed 76 lives there. You remember? Well, when I became governor, I made it our mission to turn around our veterans' homes. And now I'm proud to say that Holyoke is one of the best veterans' homes in America. It just received a perfect rating from the VA. And when I went in and I visited with those veterans, they were smiling, they were beaming. They actually filled out a survey, and they said out of a scale of 1 to 5, they gave the Holyoke Veterans Home a 4.96 rating. The residents, that was their Yelp rating, okay? And I want to give a huge shout out to the nurses and the caregivers who have been there through the years doing incredible work, taking care of people. In this moment, I'd like us to all rise if you're able and thank our first responders, our police officers, our firefighters, our veterans, our service members who tonight are serving in harm's way, our caregivers and their families. I want to thank them, Massachusetts. And to all of you out there I just mentioned, I want you to feel the love in the room tonight. Massachusetts loves you. Massachusetts honors you. And as your governor, I'll make sure that Massachusetts always takes care of you. You know, my vision for Massachusetts in this great state of ours, it's a vision that I hope everyone shares. It's a vision where people have access to housing they can afford, to the jobs and education that they want, that they get health care when they need it, where you can send your kids to the best schools, where you live in a community that's safe and you can live freely, and where you know that your rights will always be protected. Together, folks, we're building a stronger Massachusetts. And as your governor, I'll have your back anytime anyone or anything tries to get in our way. Now, that brings me to Donald Trump. You knew I was going to have to talk about it, okay? But I'm not just going to talk about what we already know to be true. That right now, we have a president who is cruel, who is callous, who is a narcissist, who's all about lining his own pockets or those of his family members, who makes reckless and rash and dangerous decisions, who's given it all away to China as we speak. I'm not going to talk about that. We know that. It is so well documented. But what I want to talk about is what Donald Trump is doing to Massachusetts, how he's hurt Massachusetts, and why it matters that for the next 2 years, you have Kim and me in the corner office. Because we see the damage he's doing, driving up prices, tearing our families apart, ripping away health care. He's hurting our people. He's hurting our communities. And yet, Massachusetts Republicans decided that this was the moment to nominate 2 candidates who are the most extreme, the most MAGA, and who most support Donald Trump. Now, these 2 guys have a lot of things in common. They're both multimillionaires, they're self-funding their campaigns, they're backed by a lot of national PACs, but here's the biggest thing. Here's the biggest thing, okay? They are so out of touch with the needs of the people of Massachusetts that they thought Donald Trump was the right choice for Massachusetts. They did. One of them was the campaign chair for Ron Don't Say Gay DeSantis and voted for Trump all 3 times. He's happy to have the endorsements of anti-choice senators like Tom Cotton and Rick Scott. He's actually campaigning on his record as the former head of the T. Yes, that one, the one where he fired everyone and left us with all the delays and the safety problems that we had to come in and clean up. That's one. The other one who they endorsed, it might even be more MAGA, if that's even possible. He's given more than $1 million to Trump and MAGA candidates. He held a fundraiser for J.D. Vance just before the election at his $7 million compound on the North Shore. He's pro-tariff, pro-ICE, and proudly anti-choice. And I love this. The closest he gets to seeing ordinary people in Massachusetts is when he's flying hundreds of feet above in his helicopter that he privately owns, calling our beautiful capital city a slum. Now, these are the guys. These are the choices, okay? Now, my opponents, of course, say that, no, we're not focused on Donald Trump. We only want to focus on what's happening here in Massachusetts. That's ridiculous, and I've got news for them. I'm the governor of Massachusetts, and I can tell you that what Donald Trump is doing is hurting people of Massachusetts every single day. If you support him, if you fund him, if you voted for him and continue to vote for him and support him in this moment, then you cannot be trusted to be governor of our great state. Of course, you've seen the digital, right? And you've seen the TV ads. Heck, we've been seeing them since Patriots were in the regular season. They're trying to rebrand their extremism, of course, and downplay their true agenda. But folks, I got the receipts. Remember when Trump and RFK took away our vaccines? My opponents thought that was okay, perfectly fine. What did I do? I wrote a vaccine prescription for everyone in this state and made sure that insurance covered it. So if you need a vaccine, you're going to get one. How about the big ugly bill that cut $1 trillion from health care? My opponents sided with MAGA. What did I do? I went out and found the most funding in the country to make sure that 300,000 families in Massachusetts could keep their health insurance. My opponents thought it was okay that Donald Trump cut funding for science and research and teaching hospitals. I don't know how many of you have a relative or a friend who's just been praying for the cure or the treatment that's coming out of one of our fantastic Massachusetts institutions, right? Right on the cusp. Those places are saving lives every day and changing lives, not just here and around the world. But they thought, cool, no problem to cut that funding. People across the world are saved by Massachusetts science. What did I do? They thought that was fine. It's wrong, and that's why I was proud to come forward and say we're going to put more dollars into science and life-saving cures and the Massachusetts economy. That's what we did. My opponents support Trump's corporate tax cuts and tariffs and his war, all things that are raising costs on all of us. I cut taxes. $1.2 billion in tax cuts my first year. Not for the rich, but for our seniors and young families and the middle class. That's what we did. That's who we're looking out for. And I made school meals and community college free so people could pursue their dreams in economic mobility and opportunity for themselves and their kids and their families. And where are our union brothers and sisters? Every union member knows that Donald Trump's coming after your right to organize, right? That's what he's about. Look, I'm the only pro-union candidate in this race who will protect your rights. And I'll sign the Protect Labor Act the second it gets to my desk. My opponents won't. My opponents won't. My opponents, these are guys who supported Donald Trump even after he overturned Roe and banned abortions for millions of women across America. My opponents. What do? We passed the strongest shield law in the country to protect our patients and providers. And in Massachusetts, women will always make their own health care decisions, not their government, and not anyone who sides with Donald Trump, Tom Cotton, Rick Scott, or the rest of them. And then there's ICE. There's ICE. We've seen the devastation ICE is doing to our people, to our communities. My opponents support ICE. Let that sink in. My opponents support ICE. You know what I did? I filed the strongest law in the country to get ICE out of our schools, our daycares, our hospitals, our churches, our courthouses. See, folks, these are the choices. These are the decisions a governor has to make. These are the choices a governor has to make every single day that Donald Trump is in office. So to be clear, This election is about who you stand for, who you stand with, and who you'll stand up to. Mike Minogue and Brian Shortsleeve stand with Donald Trump. I stand with you. I stand with you. That's the choice in this election. Those are the stakes. And that's why I'm asking for your support and your endorsement for Governor of Massachusetts. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love this job. As hard as it is, I love this job. I love our state. You know, the Massachusetts story really is the American story. When I think about Massachusetts, you know, and we're talking a lot about it this year, as we should. We celebrate 250 years, right? A lot's been talked about, right? You saw Ken Casey earlier, right? I won't repeat what he did. But to be clear, folks, you know, for all the talk of our storied history and what we brought forward here, whether it was, you know, universal health care or marriage equality or the movements through civil rights and abolition and women's suffrage, this election is not about the past. It's about the future. You know, and it's also going to be tough. It's also going to be a tough election. Donald Trump is going to weaponize everything. He's going to weaponize ICE. He's going to weaponize federal agencies. He's going to use every tool at his disposal here and across the country to try to intimidate people, keep them away from going to the polls. Donald Trump wins when people give up hope. In Massachusetts, we don't give up, we stand up. And this is our moment. This is our moment. People aren't turning to Sam Adams or Paul Revere, they're turning to us. They're turning to you. And what gives me hope is looking out in this room. I see so many people who I know who are ready to get out there and do what needs doing. I know that. I ask you, you ready? You ready? I know you're ready. You're ready to stand up to Donald Trump? Are you ready to keep making Massachusetts a place where everyone can live freely and safely in their communities? Where if you work hard, you can raise a family and afford to live. Where everyone's freedoms and rights are protected and respected. We choose the kind of state and country we want to be, and it begins right now. We've got phone calls to make, we've got doors to knock, neighbors to talk to, people to register. We need to tell them what's at stake, ask them to join us, show them that there's hope. I believe in Massachusetts, I believe in all of you. And if you do anything, I want you to take from this weekend hope and energy, not just because you heard a bunch of pretty words, but because you have seen and been part of action. Hope alone is not enough. Hope in action is everything. People in this country need inspiration. They need agency. They need people who are going to point them to the future and what is right, what we know to be true, what we've known to be true in this country for the last 250 years. We're about progress. We're not about going backwards. So come November, the choice is clear. I ask for your help. I ask for your support. I ask that you get out there and give it all you got. This country matters. Our states matter. The future of your kids and your grandkids matters. It's up to us. The cavalry is not coming. We are it. Let's go, Massachusetts. Let's get out, get after it, go win this thing, and bring it home. Thank you, everyone.